Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. You know that saying, you need money to make money?
Oh yeah, hear it all the time.
It feels like common wisdom almost.
Yeah.
But our source material today really pushes back on that. It makes this incredibly bold claim. The truth is, most wealthy people in the world started from zero.
That does sound pretty radical, doesn't it?
Mm.
Sort of turns the usual thinking upside down.
Exactly. So the big question for us, the one we really want to dig into, is how? How did they actually do it? How do you go from nothing, literally zero, to building real wealth? That's what this deep dive is all about. We're going to unpack the practical steps, the mindset shifts that are crucial, and the strategies anyone can use, even starting from scratch. And all the insights are coming straight from the sources we've looked at.
And I think it's important to set the stage here. This isn't about, finding some magic loophole or a get-rich-quick thing.
Right. No secrets here.
No. The sources lay out a path. It's clear, it's actionable, but it's built on fundamental principles and consistent effort. You have to grasp those principles and then, really apply them day in, day out.
Okay, let's dive right in then. So the very first place our deep dive takes us isn't even about the numbers yet. It's something more fundamental.
The foundation.
Yeah, what the source calls change your thinking in the right money mindset. And it starts with this really powerful idea, almost a belief system shift. Poverty or hardship isn't a permanent state. It's simply a situation.
That's a significant framing. It implies agency, doesn't it?
It really does.
Huh.
It's not just a nice sentiment. The material contrasts two beliefs. One, money just comes from luck. And the source is clear. That belief keeps you stuck.
Right. Passive, waiting for something to happen to you.
Exactly. Versus belief number two, wealth can be built. Through learning, through hard work, through making the right calls. And that, the source says, is the real starting point for your journey.
It's fascinating how critical that initial mindset piece is. It truly forms the bedrock for everything else that follows in building wealth.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you deep down believe, oh, wealth isn't for me, or only lucky people get rich, are you really going to put in the effort?
Probably not. You'd feel defeated before you start.
Exactly. This shift fosters what psychologists call an internal locus of control. It's the belief that you are the primary driver of your financial outcomes, not just fate or circumstance. It's empowering, and that feeling fuels the actions you need to take later.
Okay, that totally sets the stage. So, mindset first. Then, with that in place, the deep dive gets practical. It moves right into what's called the ABCs of money. Income, expenses, assets, and liabilities.
Learning the language?
Yeah, exactly. Like learning grammar before you write your story. So 4 key terms. First, income. Pretty straightforward. That's what you earn.
Okay.
Then expenses. Your needs, your wants, where the money goes out.
Got it.
But here's where the source makes a really critical distinction. And honestly, this was a bit of an eye-opener. Assets. They're not just things you own.
Yeah.
They're defined as things that put money into your pocket. So think investments, maybe rental property, shares, things that generate income.
Ah, okay. Active definition.
Right. And liabilities, the opposite. Things that take money out of your pocket, like debt, loan payments, interest.
Things that cost you money over time.
Precisely. And the core principle here is super clear. Rich people increase assets and avoid liabilities. Simple, but profound.
And understanding that difference fundamentally changes how you look at every financial choice, doesn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, it shifts your focus from just the price tag of something like buying a coffee or even a house to its long-term financial impact. Is that fancy car an asset because you own it? Or is it actually a liability because it loses value and costs you money every month? Or is spending money on learning a new skill an expense? Or is it building an asset that will generate more income later? Understanding these definitions, asset versus liability, help you filter decisions. You start asking, does this build my wealth or does it drain it? It's a really powerful mental filter.
That really reframes it, not just what I have, but what's working for me or against me. Okay, so you understand the language.
Yeah.
Now, time for action. The sources move into the budget and emergency fund. This is about getting control, practically speaking.
The nuts and bolts.
Yeah, and the advice is direct, maybe a little daunting. Save 20–30% of your monthly income.
Whoa, okay. That's a significant jump for many people.
Right. I can hear listeners thinking 20–30%. How, especially if you're just starting out, what's the thinking there? How do you make that a reality?
It's a great question, and the sources imply it's less about sudden drastic cuts and more about consistent prioritization. Yes, you need a budget to see where money's going. But it's also about consciously valuing that future security, that wealth building, maybe a bit more than some immediate wants. And crucially, linked right to this saving goal, is building an emergency fund.
Ah, yes, the safety net.
Exactly. The sources say aim for 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved up. And this isn't play money. It's your buffer.
For unexpected stuff, right. Job loss, medical bills.
Precisely. Its main purpose is to stop you from having to take on bad debt, which we'll get to when life throws you a curveball. It's like your financial shock absorber. It keeps a setback from becoming a complete derailment of your plan.
That makes total sense. Build the defenses first. Okay, so you've got the buffer. Now, the sources get really serious about debt. In the section Freedom from Debt, they call bad debt the biggest cause of poverty. That's pretty blunt.
It is stark, yeah, and it reflects the reality for many.
But debt can feel unavoidable sometimes, especially early on. You might have student loans, maybe a credit card balance. How do the sources suggest tackling this if you're also trying to save and cover basics?
It's definitely a balancing act, they acknowledge. They give clear examples of what they mean by bad debt. Things like high-interest credit card payments, personal loans, maybe expensive car financing, stuff that, as they put it, empties your pockets through interest.
Okay.
And the directive is really unambiguous. First, pay off debt, then start investing.
Pay off debt before investing. Why that order? Wouldn't you want to start investing early for compounding?
That's the common dilemma. But the why is purely mathematical. The interest rates on bad debt credit cards can be 18%, 20%, even higher, are often way higher than the returns you can realistically expect from safe investments, especially early on. Okay, so if your investments are making, say, 8% a year, but your credit card is costing you 20%, you're actually losing money overall. You're digging a hole while trying to build a mound next to it.
Right, you're going backwards.
Exactly. So aggressively paying off that high-interest debt often gives you the best guaranteed return on your money initially. It's like plugging leaks in a bucket before you start trying to fill it.
Okay, that clarifies the priority list. Get rid of the drag first. So once you're out from under that bad debt, the next gear shift in the blueprint is boosting your income.
Makes sense. Increase the inflow.
Yeah. Our sources challenge the idea that just having a job, a salary, is enough to get healthy. For most people, it's probably not.
Usually requires more, yeah.
So they outline 3 main paths to increase income. First, learn new skills. They mention things in demand like digital marketing, coding, design.
Upskilling.
Second, start side hustles. Freelancing, maybe an online business, something on the side.
Diversification.
And third, generate passive income through investments. Shares, mutual funds, rental property, letting your money work. But, you know, for someone working a full-time job, maybe with family, finding the time for a side hustle or learning coding, that feels like a huge hurdle.
It absolutely is a challenge. Time is finite, right?
Yeah.
But the sources seem to stress strategic effort over just adding more hours.
Okay.
What's really powerful about multiple income streams isn't just the extra cash, though that's great, it's the stability it creates.
How so?
If you rely only on your job, you're vulnerable, right? Layoffs happen, industries change. But if you have a job, plus maybe some freelance income, plus a small investment return, you've built a more resilient financial life.
Like a safety net with multiple ropes.
Exactly. It reduces dependence on any single source and speeds up wealth accumulation. The practical advice seems to boil down to identifying high-impact activities, what skills are really in demand, what side hustle fits your life, and making sure that time investment actually leads to income, not just busyness, building a web, not just a single thread.
Smart choices with limited time.
Got it. Okay, now we get to the part that always feels a bit like, well, magic. The sources dive into investment and compounding.
Ah, the magic multiplier.
Yes, they call compounding the real magic of wealth building, money making money, that snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and bigger.
It's incredibly powerful over time. Your initial investment earns returns, and then those returns start earning their own returns. It grows exponentially. The sources list different ways to do this. The stock market, obviously, for long-term growth. They specifically mention mutual fund SIP's systematic investment plans.
Yeah, those are great for consistency.
As a way to build wealth with small, regular investments. And for safer, maybe slower growth, bonds and fixed deposits. But the absolute crucial takeaway, the one they hammer home is, the sooner you start, the greater the benefit.
That single sentence, the sooner you start, the greater the benefit, might be the most important piece of investment advice there is. Full stop.
Why is this so critical?
Think of it like planting a tree. If you plant a tiny seed today, in 20 years you could have a big, strong tree.
Right.
If you wait 10 years to plant that same seed, then in 20 years from now, you'll only have a 10-year-old sapling. Compounding is exactly like that. Time is the secret ingredient.
So the when is almost as important as the what or how much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because of that exponential growth curve, every single year you delay, you're not just losing the return for that year, you're losing all the future returns on that return. It's a massive opportunity cost. Starting early is the biggest advantage you can give yourself.
Wow, okay. That tree analogy really lands. So start early, let compounding work. Now, as that wealth starts to build up from these investments, the focus shifts a bit in our source material. It moves towards long-term assets.
The bigger building blocks.
Exactly. These are the assets that can really create substantial, maybe even generational wealth. The examples given are quite significant. First, real estate. Always a classic, right? Potential for appreciation, maybe rental income.
Cornerstone for many.
Then, businesses. Actively building something that generates profit and grows in value.
Entrepreneurship route.
And third, something maybe less obvious. Intellectual property. Like writing a book, creating an online course, developing an app.
Things you create once that can keep paying.
Right. Create it once, potentially earn income for years with less ongoing effort. Now, these sound amazing real estate, business, but for someone starting from zero, that feels like a huge leap. How does one realistically get there?
That's a fair point. It's usually not a jump from zero straight to buying investment property. The sources implied these larger assets are built on top of that foundation. We discussed the saving, the debt reduction, the initial investing.
So it's a progression.
It's a progression, exactly. These bigger assets often become possible because of the wealth generated by the earlier steps. They're foundational to long-term, significant wealth because they can provide substantial cash flow, like rental income or business profits, or significant appreciation over time. They're not usually step one, but maybe step 3 or 4, a strategic goal you work towards once you have some capital built up.
Okay, so leverage the early wins to get to the bigger assets. That makes sense. And you've worked hard, you've built these assets, but what good is it if it vanishes? The sources then dedicate time to protecting your wealth.
Absolutely crucial. Building is only half the battle.
Yeah, they stress that accumulation isn't enough. You have to safeguard it. They list 3 main shields. First, insurance, the safety net for the unexpected health, property, liability.
Mitigating risk.
Second, smart tax planning. Not avoiding taxes, but legally minimizing them so you keep more of what you earn.
Efficiency.
And third, a solid retirement fund, making sure you're secure long after you stop working. Now, of those 3, insurance, tax planning, retirement, which one do people most often kind of neglect or underestimate?
That's a really good question. All 3 are vital, obviously. People generally get the need for insurance, and retirement is often on the radar, even if distant. But I find proactive tax planning is the one most frequently overlooked.
Really? Why is that?
I think many people just see taxes as something they pay, passively. They don't realize how much strategic planning, how you structure investments, when you realize gains using tax advantage accounts can legally reduce that burden over time.
So it's not just about filing correctly, it's about planning ahead.
Exactly. It's about making tax efficiency part of your overall wealth strategy. Not doing so is like letting a slow leak drain your wealth year after year without even realizing it. It can make a huge difference to your net growth.
Okay, that's a really valuable insight. Protect your gains. Now, with all these pieces moving, saving, investing, protecting the sources, introduce a really elegant final step. System and automation.
Making it effortless.
Pretty much, making it run itself. The core idea is powerful. Automate monthly saving and investing. Set it up so it just happens.
Takes the emotion and forgetfulness out of it.
Right, and the ultimate goal, the big prize, so that your money works for you, and not just you for money. Just imagine that. Your finances are humming along, growing, freeing you up mentally. But what stops people from automating? It sounds so good. Are there common hurdles?
There are a couple. The perceived complexity of setting it up can be one hurdle.
Yeah.
Figuring out the automatic transfers, the investment platforms.
The initial setup effort?
Yeah. And sometimes there's a psychological barrier, a fear of losing control if money just moves automatically. People like to feel hands-on.
I can see that.
But the benefits usually outweigh those hurdles. Automation removes decision fatigue. You don't debate if you should save this month, it just happens. That builds incredible consistency, which we know is key. And it reinforces that habit. The way to overcome it is often to start small. Automate a little bit first. Use simple tools your bank offers. Once you see it working, see the balance growing without active effort, That fear fades, and the habit sticks. It shifts wealth building from a constant chore to a background process.
Turning it into a system. Love that. And that brings us right to the end goal, the why behind all this effort. The sources call it financial freedom and legacy.
The ultimate destination.
Yeah. And the conclusion is really profound. Ultimately, the purpose of wealth is not just to enjoy, but to achieve freedom and security. It's not just about buying stuff. It's about having choices, having peace of mind, having
The
options.
power to direct your own life.
Exactly. And then it goes one step further into legacy. And when you have enough wealth, leaving a legacy for the next generation and giving back to society is true success. It elevates the whole purpose beyond just yourself.
And if you think about the big picture, that financial freedom really enables everything else, doesn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, it gives you the time and the resources to pursue things that matter deeply, beyond just earning a living. Maybe it's spending more time with family. Maybe it's contributing to your community. Maybe it's starting a foundation. Maybe it's just pursuing a passion without worrying about the bills.
Right, it unlocks potential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True success, as the sources frame it, isn't just about how much you have, but what you do with it, the positive impact you can have, the security you can provide for others, the legacy you leave behind. It connects your personal financial journey to a much larger contribution.
Wow, that's a really inspiring way to think about it. What an incredible map these sources have given us. The core message feels so clear, doesn't it? Building wealth from zero, it's tough. Yes, definitely not easy.
No illusions there.
But it's absolutely not impossible. The steps are there. Change your mindset, learn the language of money, get control with budgets and emergency funds, crush that bad debt, grow your income, invest early and consistently for compounding, protect what you build, and then automate it.
A clear blueprint.
It really is. And you, the listener, you have the agency here. The choices you make, starting today, they really will shape your financial future. Which brings us back to that powerful final question from the source material, the one we should all be asking ourselves. The question is, what is the first step you are going to take today?
And that question really zeroes in on the action, doesn't it? It's not about doing everything at once. Remember, even the smallest step, taking consistently, starts the snowball rolling. Don't get paralyzed by the whole staircase. Just focus on that first step. Figure out what that is for you today. That's where the empowerment begins, and that's where this journey of building wealth from zero actually starts.